After beating The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild without being seen, only one task remains. I wanted to know if I could beat this monolith of a game without being seen by a single enemy. Now, the rules may seem obvious at first. As long as there is no exclamation point over the enemy's head, we are safe. But I felt that this was far too simple, so I've added additional rules to push myself to my limits. Let me go over them in two categories, first being traversal rules, then battle rules. Traversal rules. 1. I'm not allowed to use or build a flying machine with the purpose of avoiding enemies, though there are a handful of times the game intends you to build one in order to progress, so those will be fine. 2. While fast travel is acceptable, I am not allowed to fast travel directly in or out of the depths or the sky. I must use the means provided by the game itself in order to make my way in or out of those locations. However, once I am within them, for example the Sky Islands, I can fast travel freely within the Sky Islands. 3. I will not use any glitches of any kind. 4. I will complete the main quests I deem necessary. There was only one I did not do, and it was purely due to feeling unnecessary. I will get all of the glyphs and the Master Sword, as well as all 5 of the main dungeons. Now for the battle rules. 1. Now I count 2 things as being seen. 1. The exclamation point, and 2. Battle music playing will also be a main indicator. However, there will be a few exceptions to this rule that will make sense when they happen. 2. I am allowed to use the sage abilities. 3. Main story bosses that are mandatory to progress will not count towards being seen. And 4. I am not allowed to use ancient blades to one-shot enemies or masks to deceive them. And this is on the Switch 2 edition. Now, before we can go to the Sky Islands themselves, first we must accompany Zelda through these tunnels beneath Hyrule Castle. Link, what are you doing? Get down from there, that's dangerous. We don't need our hero having a tragic reset at the very beginning of our adventure. Alright, let's continue. Wait, Zelda must info dump about the lore of this game. And being a true hero, listen and learn like the good Hylian I am. Now that she's done, oh wait, she has more to say.
A few moments later.
Okay, now that she's done, we encounter our very first hurdle. Within the next room is a handful of keys who like to hide around the corners. Great. But due to our handy dandy Master Sword, as well as us not taking any damage, with due time, we are able to simply use the sword beam from a distance to snipe the keys, halting our progression, letting Zelda continue to the next room where she will info dump once more. Zelda continues her yap on Zonai and war and stuff. Sorry, I zoned out for a second, Zelda. I forgot what you were saying. And it will happen again. Oh yeah, who's excited for the new Hyrule Warriors? I might stream it, maybe not. Let me know if you'd be interested in watching that. Anyways, with the yap done, we proceed. And why is Link crawling on the ceiling? Can you just be normal for 5 minutes? With the somehow remains of the Demon King found, of course it's perfectly timed that the spell holding him happens to fail as soon as we arrive. Now Link is attacked and has a tragic reset, losing not only his hearts, but also the sword that seals the darkness fails to seal the darkness, apparently, causing Zelda to be lost once again, as well as Link get abducted by aliens. It appears the aliens weren't hostile, and instead repaired Link's arm, replacing it with a new one capable of creating monstrosities beyond imagination with the right tools. But fortunately, that will not be happening this time round, and with Link finally awake, we collect what is the remains of our not-so-master sword, take a few 7 out of 10 dives from varying heights, and finally one last dive to the islands below, showing just how big of a game I will be attempting this absolute behemoth of a challenge in. Traversing the Sky Islands, the surface, and the depths all without being seen. But first, we will focus on the Great Sky Islands, and soon after the splash screen of the title of the game, we make our own splash on the screen with an amazing 10 out of 10 dive. The crowd goes wild. Link, that was fantastic! And with that, we can finally start our unseen adventure with the Great Sky Islands. With our adventure finally starting, we collect our first not-so-trustworthy weapon, a tree branch, alongside a few mushrooms, and stumble across this little fella who graciously hands over the Purapad, our little tablet companion in this game, as well as our rather useful map for any and all transportation means. A short chat later, we are given our first main quest, Find Zelda. While searching for resources, I accidentally strike fear into the core of this robot by throwing a pot. Sorry little guy, but the apple was worth it. And after stealing his stick, teaches me how to lock onto enemies for combat, something we will use very little in this run for obvious reasons. And of course, I don't practice on him because he asked very politely, one final dive onto the islands below, being another big splash for a non-existent crowd to go crazy for, landing another 10 out of 10 dive. While wandering about, we spot a cooking pot guarded by a construct that clearly does not know how to cook. So now is the time for me to put my stealth skills to the test, and while doing so, learned the stick I stole was powerful enough to destroy it in one shot. Neat. And even better, right next to the cooking pot was a spicy pepper bush, allowing me to prepare some cold resistance food in advance for a later portion of the Great Sky Islands. Nice, alongside a few additional meals in case I take some fall damage. Doing some more exploring, Link is filled with the determination to take out some of the constructs below him. But Link doesn't know what the word quiet means and immediately is caught, being our first time seen in our very first reset of the run. And now our second. So moving on from these constructs, we move our sights over to the Temple of Time where our first objective lies. And once climbed up, another construct. Seems like I should be more careful with the maneuvering of Link, which is something I apparently never learned. So, logically, second attempt I just climb around the outside perimeter instead to go completely unavoided. And fortunately for us, there is a spot where we can rest in order to regain our stamina, but also we are now able to get behind it to sneak strike, as I was saying, we can sneak strike it, loot its gear, and make our way to the Temple of Time.
Denied.
Chat, Link forgot to update his hand to the latest version. It's over. Ah, Link. It seems your hand is stuck in the now dead Windows 10. Don't worry. At the 3 potatoes scattered around the island, we can upgrade it to Windows 11 to gain you access. Now the very first shrine is easy enough to reach, it's not far away, just stay vigilant and use sneak strikes to your advantage on any enemies that cross your path. And with due time, you can easily get to the Uko shrine. And inside we unlock our first major ability, Ultra Hand, aka Magnesis on steroids. And with no enemies inside, we collect our very first spirit or Light of Blessings. Outside, Ghost Goat Guy tells me we must find the rest of the shrines on our own, but can use our Purapad to scout them out and mark them, so that is exactly what I do. And with Ultra Hand, there is so much more freedom to have with traversal, like building a bridge to cross this gap. I do some planned deforesting for wood. If you saw my Breath of the Wild without being seen, you'll know how important this is, before creating a tiny bridge with some leftover trees. Now, I'm very good at video games, so I let these wild birds go free because I'm nice and totally not because I missed killing them with a bow. Let's move on from this topic. Oh, hey Ghost Goat Guy, how's life treating you? Okay, wow, Link, rude. So I finally stumbled across my first group of constructs I will actually take out. In being early game, you can imagine how dookie this was being so early on with such few resources at my disposal, but this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to this challenge, and I mean the tippiest top. There were a few moments later on in the run that almost legitimately made me crash out, which if you've watched any of my videos or streams, you'd know I almost never do that other than jokingly. This challenge goes from simple problem solving to literal hell. So if you do end up enjoying, subscribe and turn on notifications so you can be there and not miss out on each part of my suffering. For your own sakes, I'll skip ahead to the point to where I took out each and every one of these constructs. It wasn't particularly hard, just time consuming learning where I can and cannot go to remain unseen, which in doing so rewarded me with an opal. Not bad, but arrows would have been preferred honestly. I'll be using plenty of those this whole playthrough. What a poor Korok with an oversized backpack. Sure would be rude if I were to, I don't know, drop him off the Sky Islands. You sickos probably thought I would do that. I could never! It's already lost, why would I torture it even more, you monsters? Naturally, I take the only available path back, and I'm so glad I took the Korok path over the regular, as it helped me avoid some possible hiccups. However, that doesn't mean that this was just smooth sailing, first taking out this construct because I did not wish for it to watch me build a boat. Building the boat was pretty simple. Maybe I can use this axe for more wood? Wait, a choo-choo? No, why is there a choo-choo in the sky? This better not be signs of what is to come. So this time I use Ultra Hand to get the axe from a distance. Screw you, choo-choo. Now I have the upper hand, an axe and a boat. So after sailing the 7 seas at the shore, make sure to save, and 10 feet later, a choo-choo. So I reset and wait, was the dirt not landy enough for the game to consider it solid ground? Oh, brother. Sailing the seas once more, making sure to dock at the dock itself before saving once more, and another choo-choo is here. Great, man, thanks. The save actually worked this time, thank goodness. So instead of going either of the paths, I just climbed straight up, leading Link to the In-Iza Shrine. Inside, Ghost Goat Guy installs the ability of Fuse into my arm. being one of the better abilities for this challenge with creating both powerful weapons and arrows. But this shrine isn't all sunshine and rainbows like the last, as at the very end, the shrine has an enemy who too can fuse, and not just that, it's a forced encounter. But this is where my brain had the greatest thoughts since deciding to do stupid YouTube challenges. Big boulder equal wall equal can't see, obviously. So after returning with the goods, place it in front of Link, and this is where our first exception to the battle music playing rule comes in, as if it did know where Link was and truly aggroed towards him, it would have pursued him, but since the music was forcefully played before it could even find Link, the music fades and it will remain still. I wanted to see if I could grab some additional resources, but then it spotted me. So I reset, but hey, at least we have a plan on just what might work. So a few more attempts later, I did it. Here is what you have to do. Make sure that you have at least one boulder and then use Ultra Hand on a rock to force it to run away. And while playing Ring Around the Rosie, book it and destroy the wall to hide before it can turn around. And just like that, it never saw me, letting us grab the Light of Blessing, completing it unseen. Once again, Guy Ghost Go, oh wait, no, this time it's a robot, neat. And he gifted me a AAA battery to power our own Zonai devices that will not be used a lot this whole playthrough. Can I say how nice it is that they instantly give you a use for the new club you made to complete the shrine with a reward of arrows? It's the little things that matter. Now the constructs below made me a little nervous about progression, but as I was doing so, two choo-choos came to the rescue, distracting the constructs and allowing me to hide behind this rock. Maybe, just maybe, I can forgive the choo-choos after all. Maybe peace is an option. Fortunately for me, this chest is at their back, so I can just grab it and...
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Well, the autosave kept me atop the platform, but Link is so freaking loud that he gets caught once more, only escaping when using a crouch dash maneuver. You'd think that from here I can just continue, but again, Link does not know what quiet means, and is always yelling at the top of his lungs when climbing apparently. How else would they hear him? And even after the wall, there's another patrolling with a comically large fan. But inside the cave, we find tranquility and can save. Okay, well I just lied, there are keys. I did give it a few attempts to take out the keys, even being sneaky did not let me go by because, you know, they have an eye. Using a bow also proved ineffective due to the tightness of the cave. I needed a new plan. I was curious if using the comically large fan would aid in our journey, as it would knock them down, but getting it to proved to be a task and a half. I couldn't simply just sneak up from behind, as the other two from before were facing their friend, and the sneak strike makes Link stand up way too tall and making him get seen. So what I ended up doing was shooting an arrow to distract them before taking out their mate in the good old-fashioned way, and they still saw me somehow. What? So I did it again. Okay, so that won't work. So I start by simply removing the guards instead, the stealth archer way of course, and rest till morning. Then finally, after all that, I can take out the main dude just for a fan. I could have probably made my own in all the time this took. And you wanna know the cherry on top? This didn't even help with the keys at all. It knocked them on the ground for 1 second before they got back up and saw me. Great. All of that for the exact same results. Instead, I just climbed above and over the top of this cave. This would have saved me so much time, but also like I don't like to move on unless I know something is 100% impossible. But on the bright side, the climb led us exactly where the cave would have, our first use of the battery to power fans to make a boat to cross the river. Being ignorant, I think, oh, so I can just move forward. Wrong. Choo-choo has seen you. And again. Even my autosave wanted me to fail, putting me right back to the two choos. So just like Breath of the Wild, the main paths suck and must be avoided at all costs. So I climb around instead. And just like Steve, yearn for the mines, taking the conveniently placed minecart into the cave, where fortunately, no enemies preside inside. So we first mine, then we try to steal from this guy, and as a punishment, he turns us monochrome. On our ride out, can we just take a minute to appreciate the beauty of this game? Like, man, how did they even get this running on the OG Nintendo Switch?
Let's go gambling! I can't stop winning!
Of course, I can't let this poor Korok be stuck on his own, so once again, aid him in the reuniting with his friend. Now, I'm pretty sure what you're supposed to do here is use a hook and hang the minecart below. However, I just combined 4 minecarts in a straight line and used that to solve the puzzle. Since I already possessed a cold-resistant food, I thought I would just build a tree bridge to reach it instead of going the long way around, so I did exactly that, and the snow area itself was smooth shield surfing up until this cave. But once again, a choo-choo comes to the rescue, sacrificing itself just for Link, just so Link can remain unseen. I'm sorry for all the hate I've given you, choo-choo. I'll make up for it one day, I promise. But things get even bumpier inside. Let me introduce you to Death Incarnate, the Like, who will attempt to eat us alive if we're seen. Okay, the Death Incarnate was a little exaggeratory, but for specifically this challenge, they are by far one of the worst, if not the worst enemies that we will have to deal with. Their hearing is absolutely bonkers. I get they need it to properly hunt since they don't have eyes, but holy crap, they can hear everything but the slowest crouch walking. These guys suck. So I crawled all the way around this one in order to avoid it, which worked. However, there was the second one that is facing the exit of the cave, and we don't have Ascend yet, so this leaves me with very few choices. First thought was to distract it, but that would not buy me enough time to be sneaky to escape. So instead, even better plan, shoot it with a fire fruit, which stuns it, and while stunned, no battle music plays as it cannot see me, and it stays stunned just long enough for us to be able to escape and hide before it can spot us, leaving it confused on what the heck even happened. All that is left is to simply climb these routes up to the third shrine, the Gutenbach Shrine, and inside, unlock yet another very useful skill via a forced update, Ascend. However, once again there is an enemy for us to take care of, and this one being a simple construct who I, as per usual, took care of with rather stealthy means, unlocking the third and final Light of Blessing. Ah, Link, it seems your hand is finally compatible with the door of the Temple of Time. The door should now open. Maybe. But first, we collect some handy-dandy cold resistance pants, which as stated, will come in handy-dandy, and after some more gambling, glide our way down to the Temple of Time, this being one of the few exceptions to the flying machine rule since it is the path intended to take, and after almost hitting the second temple, finally open the door. Oh hey, this stone seems like it could have a secret. Let's call it a secret stone and hope we don't hear those exact words 5 times for literally no reason whatsoever later down the line. It seems this stone's secret was actually Zelda. Well, we found her and that's it. Game's over. Easy peasy. Oh, it's not over, she just wanted to give us the ability recall. Another useful tool for this challenge, but much more niche compared to the others. Being stubborn, I decided to climb up without using the recall because I can. And at the door, wait, why is it draining my hearts? What kind of door is this? Well, shucks, Link is baby man and only has 3 hearts. Again. Ah, Link. Windows 11 just died. This door only accepts Linux now. Sorry, Link, but I can get you that if you complete one last shrine. Adios, amigos. However, the last shrine only takes a simple fast travel to get to. No enemies can even spawn here, and once again, instead of using recall, I just ascend straight up and into where the final shrine exists, the Nacho Ya Shrine, aka the recall tutorial, which also contains no enemies, rewarding us with the last Light of Blessing on the Great Sky Islands. Returning, I totally did not waste 20 minutes trying to see what happens if you go around the door without opening it. Spoilers, nothing happens, so I returned to collect our first heart upgrade needed to beat the game, as well as open the door by letting the 2 dragons kiss for some reason. I mean, good for them, but can you not do that in public, please? Finally getting to the altar legitimately, this glowing orb, our recall, and the Master Sword all resonate together, and in combining them, send the Master Sword to who knows where, only knowing that Zelda has her sword now somehow. Kinda needed that to seal the darkness, but also it's broken anyway, so yeah, sure, Zelda, you can keep it. Oh look! A conveniently Zelda-colored dragon emerges from the clouds, finally breaking the curse preventing us from jumping down before. Thank you, random new dragon that didn't exist in Breath of the Wild for obvious plot reasons. And of course, we hit a 6 shield jump surf off the side of the altar as we are now descending down from on high to the kingdom below, plunging into the lake, finally completing the Great Sky Islands after 2 hours and 19 minutes. But we can't quite start any of the other main quests yet, as we need to make our way to the Lookout Landing. Which can I say I love the fact it's named Lookout, after both the sky is falling Chicken Little style, as well as the fact that they have a massive tower that can launch you into the sky. It's the perfect name. Now, I kid you not, getting there was a cakewalk. Actually, there was one time I got seen, and that's because I missed a headshot on a boko. Other than that, literally nothing. I did see a wild choo-choo, which was weird since they usually only pop up when you're near them. Maybe it's a sign of things going to crap, but other than that, it was easy peasy to get to Lookout Landing. And for the first time time ever, we meet Purah, who asked if we are a ghost. Can you blame her? Link saved Hyrule once without being seen, so of course she didn't think he actually existed, which is kinda rude. So we explain to her exactly what happened across the past 2 hours, and she tells us exactly again what happened across the past 2 hours in case we forgot exactly what just happened across the past 2 hours. And after all that, we are now tasked to investigate the crisis at Hyrule Castle. Why Link? He just got here. Can you not send Robbie? Though he probably would get abducted by an Aracuda if he did. Okay, fine, we'll do it. Of course, I'm going to help Addison whenever I can. He clearly needs it, as well as he can give us some rather powerful and potent items at the low price of 30 seconds of my time. Quite the fine deal if you ask me. Since I'm going to need both hearts and stamina in order to get the Master Sword and the 5th Temple, I need to do shrines, and conveniently there's one here. Let's see. Combat training. Nope, that's not happening. Already off to an amazing start. While exploring the castle, I get a new bow and some arrows before finally meeting up with Hawes in order to progress the quest, where we spot Zelda off in a distance before she, once again, vanishes. Man, for someone who really wants to be found, you're not making that very easy. Reporting back to Purah, she now wants me to test out her new torture launching machine. Wait, Link, why did you agree to literally die? Oh, you don't care? Alright, then be her guest. Don't say I didn't warn you. The time is now, Link. You cannot back out now. You already activated it. I warned you it wouldn't be pleasant, but you didn't listen, Link. Do what she says. So this is where I tell you that I will also be unlocking all of the towers, unlike I did in Breath of the Wild, as they are even more useful and important in this game compared to the last, and with Link scanning the first map segment, we can now cross this one off the list of total towers left. Link, you packed your landing gear, right? You know, your paraglider? Link, you fool! What do you mean you forgot? How are you even going to find and save Zelda if you can't even remember to pack your landing gear? Well, I guess this is the end. Goodbye, Link. Oh, you survived. Color me impressed. But don't forget your paraglider ever again, got that? One final report back to Purah, and we are given our freedom to choose which of the regional phenomenon to take on first. So, naturally, we go for